With all that's going on in our nation today, this story might help put things into perspective. The author is unknown, and it is read by myself, Fritz Braunberger. The War of 1812 was well into its second year, and things did not look too promising for the then only 16 United States of America. The British General Ross had already destroyed the American capital in Washington, D.C., before taking his troops and heading north towards Maryland. General Ross took prisoners along the way, many of whom were transferred to the British ships out in the harbor. The prisoners that he took were not limited to combatants, but included civilians and even medical doctors. The Americans had taken British officers prisoners as well, so the people of Washington, D.C. recruited a local lawyer to intervene and try to effect some kind of prisoner exchange with the British. The lawyer accepted the challenge and then set out on his mission. He reached the British Admiral Cockburn's ship under a flag of truce the morning of the 7th. Even though he held the flag of truce and he was there to negotiate with the British, he was thrown in the hold of the ship, along with the other American prisoners below deck. Admiral Cockburn began moving his ships upriver towards Baltimore on Sunday, September the 12th. He brought the lawyer up onto the deck to witness his victory. And the only barrier in the Admiral's path was a small American outpost called Fort McHenry. In the morning, the attack would begin, and the lawyer could only watch helplessly from the deck of the ship as he was closely guarded by the same enemy that was killing his countrymen. His nation, just 38 years old, was on the brink of losing its freedom that its patriots had fought so valiantly for, and there was absolutely nothing he could do to prevent it. The morning came, and the attack commenced, gradually increasing in intensity. At one point, Admiral Cockburn handed a telescope to the lawyer and told him to peer offshore. He said, "What do you see?" "Dots, many dots," the lawyer said in response. The Admiral told him that those dots were actually British warships on their way to join the attack. "They'll be here in a matter of hours," said the Admiral. "And upon their arrival, I will order them to open up all of their guns on that fort and that precious flag that you worship so much." The lawyer begged the Admiral not to attack. The lawyer admitted, yes, there were soldiers there at the fort, but there were also women and children and innocent civilians. The Admiral said not to worry. "We've given them a way out. We've sent word to the fort that all they have to do is lower that flag and we will stop the bombardment. All they have to do is surrender, and it will all be over." "But alas," said the Admiral, "I will release your countrymen and put you aboard a sloop once the battle is ended, but you will have nothing to return to." At 7 a.m. on the morning of September 13th, 1814, the British bombardment began. The attack went on all day and into the night. 18 hours of relentless attack with thousands of bombs and cannonballs and rockets lighting up the sky. And every time there was a lull, the lawyer heard the American prisoners below deck yelling up to him, "Is it there? Did you see it? Is it still there? Is our flag still there?" Of course, he knew what they were referring to, and he knew the implications of surrender. He strained his eyes through the darkness of night for hours to try to get a glimpse of the American flag that once flew over Fort McHenry. At one point during the night, the Admiral ordered all of his cannons to take aim at the flag itself to ensure that the flag would be obliterated. During the daylight hours, the flag was hard to miss, even at a distance. The flag was 30 feet high and 40 feet wide. But as darkness had fallen, the only time the flag could be seen was during those seconds when it was momentarily lit by bombs and the red glare of rockets. As long as he could see the flag flying, the lawyer knew that there was hope and that his nation might still survive. Suddenly their calm fell over the harbor. The bombardment had stopped. There were no more flashes of light to light up the sky in order to see the flag. Perhaps, in fact, the flag no longer waved. Maybe the reason for the silence was the unthinkable fact that Fort McHenry had fallen to the British. The queries from the prisoners below became louder and louder. Have they surrendered? Is our flag still there? The lawyer strained his eyes towards the fort. He prayed for the rays of dawn to pierce the sky and reveal the sight that would signal the survival of his countrymen. The lull lasted 3 hours, and because of the darkness and the smoke, he could not see the flag at all. He worried that all in the fort were dead, or even worse, had surrendered. Now, almost on cue, the final bombardment began. The bombs had started anew. The lawyer caught himself even hoping for another brilliant flash of light in order to see the flag. So intense was this final bombardment that the early morning dawn was filled with smoke. So thick was the curtain of smoke that by 8 a.m. even the morning sunshine could not reveal whether or not the flag still waved. Then something remarkable happened. The lawyer, along with the other prisoners, were put aboard a skiff and set free. They watched as the British ships began to withdraw. Had the fort been destroyed by the bombs? Had it finally fallen to the British ground troops? As it turned out, the flag was knocked down several times throughout the night. Its pole was shattered and its stripes were tattered. But each time that it fell, before the smoke had cleared, the men and women and children of Fort McHenry had run out from under their cover and raised that flag once again. As the lawyer and the others watched, a breeze began to move across the water surface, and the smoke of the battle began to clear. Against the blue sky of dawn, new colors appeared, red, then white, then a star and another, then a brief glimpse of the 2-foot-thick stripes of the Star-Spangled Banner. What a welcome sight they were. The lawyer's heart swelled with hope and pride in the men who had so valiantly fought through the night to keep that flag flying. The lawyer's name was Francis Scott Key. Reaching into his pocket, Mr. Key withdrew an envelope and began to write down his thoughts. Oh, say can you see, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And you know the rest.